First of all, I want to welcome you to the June Art Treasure Chest subscription box. This is going to be just a great box, and I know you're going to have fun with all the colors, painting this turtle and mixing colors to create new colors for the turtle. So sit back, enjoy the video tutorial, watch it first, that's my suggestion, and then watch it again and start your painting, go back and forth with a recording so that you can paint it as your leisure. So I hope you have fun with it, and please post in the private group. I'd love to see what you have to say about this turtle. So y'all have fun. So now let's paint the canvas. Now, first of all, you have, when you opened it up, you sprayed it with water and then you put it out to dry. That way your canvas is good and tight, and it helps prevent your canvas from sinking when you put your glass on. So you have a sponge brush in your box. So I just put just a real light mist of water on here, and I'm going to take some of the white and a touch of the blue that you have, just a touch. Here we are right here. And I'm just going to mix them together to get the color that I want for the canvas. So, and I think that's it right there. So just cover, I take long running strokes here, just like this. And if you feel like you need to put 2 coats on, you can. It's entirely up to you. I don't know what the brush seems like. It's got something on it. It does have something on it. What is going on here? Oh, jeez. You can also use a brush if you choose to. I don't know what this is on here. So as I come down, I'm going to, I've got white paint on the side here. I'm just going to tap into my white, and because I still have blue on my brush, it's going to be just fine. So I'm just going to keep adding the white. You can do yours the same color all the way up if you want to. It is up to you. And you just want to make sure you get your sides done. And that is all there is to painting the canvas before you draw your turtle on. So once it dries, you can go back in, and what you want to do is you want to take your graphite paper and lay it down on top of the canvas after it's dried, of course. Let me make sure I got all those. Yeah, I got them. And then you'll lay your piece of your colored turtle. You're going to lay it on top, and then on your canvas you've had a piece of blue tape. You're going to tape this over your canvas, and then you can take an ink pen or a pencil, whatever you want, and you draw out everything, making sure that you leave plenty of space here for these yellows. So you should have a line on each side of those for your yellows. So once you get through that, then we're going to start painting. Okay, I've gone on and traced mine, and you will have a tracer and also a piece of blue tape, and you're going to take that piece of blue tape, you will take your tracer and you will lay it down with your graphite paper underneath, and you will tape it with the blue tape that you will find on your canvas, and go ahead and trace it. That's going to be your tracer this time. It's going to be in color. Now we have, let me move this over here. I have my paintbrush. I have my napkin. I'm using a paper towel. You have a napkin in your box. So I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm going to just take the excess water off of it. Okay. And I'm going to take some more of the white paint. And we're going to be doing mixing this time. Changing our colors and the way we want things to look. So I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to start with his fin. And I'm going to take the white and I'm going to just come in here and just paint in his fin. I think it's easier for me if I, go over the blue with the white, and that way it gives me a nice base. And I want to make sure I have covered none of my tracing marks are showing. So make sure you get those. Okay. All right, so we've got that. And then we want to come back. Let's see, let me go on and put all of my colors down. We have yellow. And we have the blue. Hopefully it's not too dried out. All right, so now I'm going to come in with a little bit of the blue. I'm going to pick up a little bit of white and kind of mix it in to get the color that I wanted to get. So right in here, I want to kind of outline. And with the paint still being a little wet, it just gives it a really pretty color, doesn't it? I think so. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. So as you know, there are never two paintings that look alike. So mine is certainly not going to look like my last one, but I think it'll be just as pretty. Okay. So I'm going to wipe my brush, and I'm going to come back in, and I actually want to have some of this darker blue. So I'm going to just kind of do some little circles here and there, like this. A little bit more of that blue. Make it like that. So there, you don't have to draw in those little circles that I had drawn in there. It was just to kind of give you an idea. So I've got those. I'm going to come back here and get some of that real blue. And I'm going to just do some little different things here. No rhyme or reason, just have fun with it. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to rinse my brush because I'm going to come back in with yellow, but we've got to have that dry before we can do it. So I think I'll move on to something else. And I think what I'm going to move on to is I'm going to, I think I will go ahead and start doing his shell. And so I'm going to take this dark green and it may take 2 coats, and you're going to be painting in between each one of these. Let's see if I can bring you down a little bit closer so you can see what we're doing here. Hopefully that helps. And do another one right here. And then we're going to come in with the yellow, and we're going to do some lines there. And when you put your glass on, you're going to want to be very careful with it and try to keep it divided. So this green, as you have in your box, which was a full bottle from gift for me, is Evergreen. So this is a good color you'll use a lot. Okay, now I'm going to come over. I'm going to do some right here. And bring it over here. I find it's easier to just do these first. Oops, that was not supposed to happen. Darn it. I think I'll be all right. My hand just slipped. Okay, and then we'll do it right there. I did this turtle. I gave it as a closing gift. I'm in real estate also, most of y'all know that. But I'm a realtor in Destin. And so I created a, oh gosh, it was a big one, a very large canvas of this turtle. Let me tell you, it's quite a statement piece when you've got that turtle's head staring at you. I think it was a 18 by 24 canvas that I did as this closing gift. And I think I missed a spot here, so I'll just put one right here. And then we'll draw another one right there. Yeah, I love the turtles. So sweet. And we'll put one right in here. And then we're going to sort of put one here, but not quite all the way. So now I'm going to put the green right here, down at the bottom. Sorry. That's what happens when I bring you up real close. I hope I didn't miss anything here. Okay. So I think this is dry enough now that we can rinse off our brush again, come back in and wipe it. And let's go into some yellow. So I have the yellow on my brush, and we're going to come in and we're going to just kind of put a little bit of yellow right in here. And then I'm going to put the yellow in the centers of these holes, circles, whatever. I hope you enjoy doing this. And as you know, just stop and start. Take it forward, go back. Okay. Now we can take this yellow that we have, pick up some of this green, move over here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take the yellow and the green, and I'm going to pick up some of that blue, and I'm going to make us get a little bit of white, make us a little kind of a turquoise here, get a little bit more blue. There's this a pretty turquoise. Okay, so I want to take some of this and I want to just kind of add it. Actually, still a little green. Get a little bit more white in there. There we go. Much better. A little bit more white. I'll get it here in a minute. There we go. Okay. Just adding just a few little colors in here. And I'm going to wipe my brush, and I'm just going to actually going to give it a good wipe. And I'm just going to kind of rub in here with it. Okay. All right, so we've got that done, and now this is started to dry. I'm going to rinse my brush again, and I'm just going to give it a quick run over again on this green. And just, I'm going to bring it up here so you can see what I'm doing. Just filling it in. Not that it's really going to matter, because when we start putting glass on it, it's not going to show anyway, is it? But you never know. That's why I always do. So this one should be real quick, because you just making sure you filled in those kind of light spots. Can y'all hear my little dog over there sleeping away? Okay. So bring this down. And I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to get this one. And come back and go with this. Okay. All right, so we've got that done. I'm going to come in now and I'm going to put my red down. Rinse my brush again. Now I'm going to take the red and I'm going to put it over here. And I'm going to grab up some of this white and kind of get, I don't want like a real red color. I kind of like the, almost a raspberry. Some more red here. I could have used the palette knife to do this, but I didn't, did I? Okay, so let's see how this works. Okay. So if you notice on this, we've got the reds in here. We've got red up at the top and we have red working in. So I'm going to just give it a little different taste here. I'm going to put some red right here. I'm going to bring in some red right here. And you can make this any color you want. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start bringing in the red here. So this is supposed to be his chin right there. I missed it. Okay, so I'm just bringing in, sorry about that again. It's what happens when I bring you in really close. I'm going to grab up a little bit more of that red and just put it in here. It's almost like a play day here. And I'm going to grab up a little bit more red because I want more outlined right there. Okay. So I've got the red in there. I'm going to wipe that off. I'm going to come back and get some of that green right on top of that red. And I'm just going to play with my colors a little bit. So feel free to play with your colors. Now, I want to do this light before I do anything else on there. And I kind of think I want to take some of the redder red. And I'm going to put a little bit in here. And then I'm going to come back with the dark green. And I'm just going to kind of mix it in there with it to make a new color. But I just still want that red to show. So I'm going to leave it like that. All right, I'm rinsing out my brush. And I'm going to come in with, I'm going to go in with my white while that's drying. And I want to put some white in here because we're going to go over it. But we need it to be light before we can go over and get the color the way we want it. Over here. Sure you can see what I'm doing. Didn't do his, I find a pencil, I didn't do his nostrils. How did I miss that? They're right here. Okay. So I'm just really doing this for a base so that when we do put the color on, we'll be able to see it. Just barely going over that because I just kind of got a little green in there, didn't I? But that's okay because green's going in there anyway. That green over there. Coming back over here, putting a little white in there. I'll go back over that. And if you want, you can completely cover all of this to kind of give it. See, right in here, this is going to be really light too, so I'm going to just pop in some white in there. And since I got that white on my, I'm going to put that red with a white in right here. And I may come back over it with some white, make it pinker here in a minute. Okay, so now that we've got that done, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to get my sort of reddish color. And I'm going to, let's make sure you can see what I'm doing. Spraying in that red. And you know, the nice thing about this turtle, nothing has to be perfectly in the lines either. So I'm just putting in that red. It's right there. So just then over here, you can use the angle of the brush to paint that in. Now his nose, his snout, is more pink. So I'm going to mix up some white in with that, and I'm going to come in here with a real soft pink nose. Sorta. Sorta. And then I'm going to wipe my brush and I'm going to come back in straight into the red and get it where it's nice and thin on my brush. And then just kind of just get it in there. And then wipe my brush, and then I'm going to just kind of pull. Just kind of pull it in. I'm going to leave that alone for a minute because we're going to need to come in there with yellow. But before we do the yellow, let's get up here in the top of his head. And let's take some of the blue, a little bit of the white, till you get that color you're wanting. There's my color right there. Okay. So now I'm just going to just bring it over. See if I can, turning my paintbrush sideways. I'm just kind of following it around just a little bit. I'm going to come back over here again and finish putting that in there. But we're going to come back with more color. We're going to put the blue in first. So I'm going to come back over here with it. And he is like right here. Just add that color right up to that line. There. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to draw that blue in right there. Now I'm going to go into my green. I just wiped my brush, and I'm going to add some green in right in with that right there. Isn't that pretty? I like that. So I'm going to get a little bit more of the green, and I'm going to come around right here where the eye is going to be. This is one of those things you just really want to look at your the piece that I provided to kind of get your outlines of where you want to put everything. Okay. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to kind of draw right there too. And then I want to take a little bit of white with that green that's still left on my brush. I'm going to add a little bit more green to it, picking up a new color, and I'm going to, it's probably just a little too light. I need it darker. Let's see how that does. I still think it needs to be darker, don't you? I believe it does. Then I'm going to wipe my brush and go right into that dark blue, mix it with what's on my brush, and I'm going to come back and bring that in there. And I'm just kind of looking at my piece, and I mixed some green and some blue and the yellow and made a color. And I'm just kind of doing that here too with the green and the yellow. Okay. Wet my brush. Okay, so I'm going to go into the blue that I had. I had made. I'm just leaving it right in there. Okay. Rinsing. I'm doing a lot of rinsing on this one. So we're going to go in with some white right here. And I'm going to grab up some of the red. And I'm just going to kind of pat it on. Coming up into the blue in there. grab some white and kind of pat in here also. We're getting close to those eyes being done. So I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to come right here. Then I want to come over here. And I'm going to cover up those circles that we've got. Then I'm going to come into our green again. I'm going to bring it up here. I'm sure you can see. Grab some blue. I'm not wetting my brush. I'm just going to add some down to here. Bring this up in here. Okay. So let's see. I want to take a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white. I'm going to add that in here. Take some of that white, put it right in here. With a touch of that yellow on it, so it's not like it's totally white. A little bit of yellow there. A little bit of yellow there. Okay. A little blue and white. And we're going to come right here, around that eye. A little bit right here. There's still a little blue left on my brush, but I'm just putting in that white. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to rinse my brush. He'll be back over there in a minute. I know he looks horrible right now. He looks horrible, but he will get better. So I'm going right into my yellow, and I'm filling my brush full of yellow, and I'm making it nice and thin. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to draw these lines right here. I'm going to turn him this way. May have to do another little second take on that. We will see. And you want your lines wide enough so that when you put your glass on, you can definitely see it. Okay, so we want to put some yellow in here. Now I just went in and grabbed another color in there that I already had mixed up. So you can put any color you want, that's for sure. So I took some blue, I just had that green on my brush, and so I just poked into the blue. I'm going to go back into my green here. Let me turn it around. And I'm going to make these a little smoother. And where I went over with that yellow, we'll just take advantage of that. going to go on and put his eyes in. So, hang on a minute. I'm getting out the black. Now you have a smaller brush that if you want to, you can use it. So water dripping, and I don't want that to drip. Sorry. Okay. I have to turn him this way because I'm left-handed, and do that eye. Make sure you can see it. Yeah. I'm going to get a little bit more of the blue and the white. And I want to put it right there. But I'm going to come back over it with more color. I think I'm going to go on and put that red right there. But then I'm going to come back in with some yellow. Let's see what color we end up with. That's an orange, isn't it? I just put a little bit of blue on my brush to kind of give it a different color. And I'm going to come into my white. I'm going to do a little thing right here. Should have gone on and done his nose, shouldn't I? His little snout. It has a little snout. Now I'm going to just kind of then you have another brush that I think will probably do better for these little circles. So I'll get that out of there. Yeah. I have a couple of hairs there that do not need to be there. So the small brush that you have is perfect for making his little nose nostrils. So I'm just kind of filling in here. This is green that I'm putting right here. So if you did not see me do his nostrils, we're going to do them again. There. So we're getting somewhere. Rinse this off. And I'm going to come in with the red. And I'm going to make some little dots. And then we're going to do the same. And I used the pure red for this. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, right there. Now I'm going to come in with my yellow. And I'm going to brush upward. I'm going to just go like this. More yellow. A little bit more yellow. And bring it to right here. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a minute. And then I'm going to, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to put a little bit right here. And while I have that yellow on my brush, I'm going to just get a little bit of green on it and just kind of smudge it in right in here. I'm going to take a dot of white, just really a very light dot, and we're just going to make a little reflection in his eyes. I'm going to blow dry that because it needs to be dry. I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to go into the red or the pink that we made. And I'm just putting a very, very small amount on here, and I'm just going to flick it. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to flick. On my brush. Let me start over here. And I'm going to get a little bit more on there. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do a little flick. So I'm just pressing down and lifting. Just press down and lift. This blue. Wipe it off. And then I want to just come in here. I want to give his nose a little defined mark here. Right in there. A little bit more blue there. Okay. So I'm going to go into the black and get it real thin. And I'm going to come right here. And then we're going to come this way. And that one needs to be just a little bit thicker. Okay, so we got that. I'm going right into that red. I wiped off the black, but I'm leaving some of the black on because I want it to be deeper here. The more I look at it, it needs to be deeper. Right in there. And right in here. Especially right under his neck. We need like a little shadow going on there. I'm going to go into the blue, and I'm going to give this more of a defined look. Put blue in there. So I'm sorry, I was putting that right there just to give it some more depth. I just kind of went outside those lines, so now I got to fix it. Okay, so I have painted him, but I want to add more color in, make him a little bit more brilliant, and smooth out some of the, as you can see through the color. So I'm going to go into my yellow, and I'm going to just kind of re-add this yellow in here in some areas, just to give him a little bit more pop of color where I feel like he needs it. So I do think that we need to go back through all of these lines here. And just get that where when we do put the glass on, the yellow is going to pop. I'm not going to add any more green to it, even though I can still see some through there, because I think when we put the glass on it, it's going to be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to wipe my brush. Get a little bit of white. I think, let me get my real small brush just a second. I think I'm going to come right here. And bring in some white right there. And I'm going to come over here. Add a little bit of white in here. With white on my brush, on my little brush, I'm just going to mix in a little bit of that blue because I want to soften this a little bit. This is when I like to set something down for a day and come back and see what I've got here. Need to add a little bit of blue. And of course, as you know, there's never two that look alike. So if anybody says, I want one exactly like this, I always tell them, well, I doubt I can get it exactly like that, but I can sure get it close. Does that work? And a little bit more pink in here, which was my red and my white mixed together. Because this part isn't going to have glass on it, and you want to make sure that you don't see that canvas through there. So I'm just really kind of going over everything to see what I think I need. Rinse both of these little brushes. And I want to take some blue and some red. To make some purple. I'm going to add just a touch of white because I want to lighten it up. show you what I'm doing. You can see what in the world I'm doing. This is my purple, and I'm adding more white to it to get that softer color in there. Okay, so I want to come up here at the top of his head. I'm going to add just little dots of purple in here. Then some over in here. Then with my brush still with the purple on it, I'm going to grab some of the green. And let's make us a new color. And that was still with what we had made with the purple. So I'm going to just kind of put a little of that in here. Okay, now rinse my brush. Let's see, let's take some green and some yellow. And let's make us a lighter green. And we'll add a little blue to that also. Okay. So I want to come in and maybe add a little bit of that color green on here as well. And I want to emphasize, I'm going to have to turn and emphasize this a little bit more. You can use your other brush if you want to. So this is where, you know, when you start on it and you look at it and you wonder, you know, is this looking right? Am I getting the right color? So now I'm going to come back with that color and I'm going to grab up some white and I'm going to make a softer green. And I'm going to come in here. Maybe add just a little bit more of that green and yellow that we had mixed. Come back over it. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to wipe my brush real good here. I'm going to come back in with some white. And I'm just going to just kind of touch in some white. Let me rinse my brush. I thought maybe I could do it with that green on there, but it's not cooperating. It is not cooperating. Okay. I'm going to come over here and pick up some of the red. I still had the white on my brush, but I want to just straight down with the brush. I want to tap in this red again to get that right. And I'm going to come over here. Okay, then I think I want to make this a little bit darker. And I'm still dealing with this one spot underneath his eye. I haven't got that the way I want it yet. So let's see if I just do straight green, what I'm going to get here. I think that's much better. Yeah. Wipe my brush. I'm going to tap into the yellow. And I'm just going to come right here. I don't have a lot on my brush. Okay. Rinse my brush. Do a lot of rinsing on this one. I'll come into the blue. And I am going to just kind of outline. Just a little bit, just kind of tap. I'm going to wipe that off, and then I'm just going to start tapping. And just kind of pulling it sideways and down a little bit. Oh, that is so much better. So much better. Got to rinse. I'm going to come into my white. And I'm going to tap it off. Just tap it off. And then I want to come right in here. Right in there. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of smooth this out with the white in there. And I'm going to tap right here, right in here, just to give it that little something something. Okay. And I'm going to come over and just white still on there, and I'm going to wipe off this yellow, and I'm going to where did I see that I wanted to do that? Hang on a minute. I've lost my spot. Little yellow right there on his little nose and right in here. Then I'm going to wipe that, come back and get a little bit of yellow, white, excuse me, on top of that yellow. And I want to just kind of smooth that where it just kind of goes in. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. Yeah, I'll do it right in here. So this is just where you're now at the point where you just play with it and get it the way you want it. Now like I see in my original, I had a little bit of yellow that went right here. So even though I'm not, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put some yellow in there. I don't know if I should have put that right there or not. Let me get some blue. We'll fix it. A small brush would do really well right here. Grab a little white on top of that blue, and I'm going to come right in here. Still had the blue on my brush. I'm going to rinse my brush, dry it off. I'm going to touch the white again, just like that, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to just take it off of my brush. And I want to come in like, really take it off. Wipe it on your towel. And I want to come in right here and I want to do some tapping. Tap, 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 tap. Right in here. Then I think maybe I tapped a little too much. So I'm going to take a little bit of the red and I'm going to tap. There. That's good. That's good. So just play with it. Get it the way you want it. I'm going to take a little bit of this white. Put a little bit right in here. Right there. To just, have a ball with it. I had put this kind of green, so I'm going to tap in some yellow here also. I like the being able to see the other color come through on it. Now, if you want, you can always come back and kind of go right over these edges here to kind of make it blend a little bit better. So I'm taking the colors and I'm just going to kind of bring in that red right there. Okay. Oh, I guess I've got green over here too. And then I'm going to come in and grab some of that yellow. I'm going to put it right there. And then you may want to come back on the sides and repaint your sides right here to just get it the color that you want it. All right, so I'm looking, trying to think, is this it? Are we done here? Put some of this right here. I had a little bit of that green on my, yeah, that's good. That's a little bit of green, a little bit of red, and I just kind of blopped it on together. So I think we are ready now for the glass. Okay. I don't have anything I can put under here to hold this. Okay. This is 8 by 8. Well, let's get started. If you purchased a box, you received 4 ounces of glass. So this does not come in the box. The clear gel by Eileen. I really like this. And so you also have a stir stick in your box. Let me get mine. No cookies. No cookies. Fine. Nope. So the stir stick is for you to be able to stir your resin with, but what we're going to do is we're going to take the glue and we want to outline inside right there on that very edge, up next to the little yellow lines that we painted. You want to have the glue. Then you can take your glass and put it in here. I suggest you get out a paper plate and put your glass on so that you make sure you get the right sizes. Because this is now turned into being a jigsaw puzzle. So just get them in there. Make sure, though, to stay inside the lines. Don't go outside the lines, because I'm going to tell you, if you get them outside the lines and you pour the resin on, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb that you are outside the lines. So try to stay inside your lines. So you do a lot of placing with this. Okay, so let's do another one. So I'm going to place this one. It's kind of a little pointed. So I'm keeping the spaces there between. Here, let me flip that one over. Okay. That fit in really well. Let's see here. Get in there. And see, wanted to show my go over there off that line, and I don't want it to. So I started to use the extra small glass, but decided to use this Wicker, which is 1/4 of an inch glass. So I'm just going to stick them in there and see where we fall. I've given you plenty of glass so that you will probably have some left over. And if by chance you have any little filler beads, you might, like little tiny spots, if you can't find one that fits in that little tiny hole. Tell you the best thing would be to order my small glass with shards. You'll find you'll use that so much. Okay, so you see that one popped out. We want to get that back over there because we have to have that line. Here's one. I'm going to see if I can put that like that over here. Over here. There. Okay. So this is a big one. It has a little point. Looks like that would be perfect. I want to come in here and give that a little scoot. There's another one with a good point on it. Put it right there. And again, right here. So we've got the big ones in. So let's see if we can figure out what to put in between. And also, if you have a pair of tweezers, this is where this comes in handy. Let's see if this one will fit in. No. Let's see if this one will. No. But this one I'm sure will. See if I can scoot that up in there. There. Okay, so I'm going to take these tweezers. I'm going to see if I can put this one right here. It's being stubborn. Let me see if I can do the other side. And this one fits right in there. Yeah, the tweezers really help. There. All right, so now we'll do this one. Flip that one over. See if this will work. Well, I think it'll work right here. Thinking I can get that in there. Let's see. Yeah, that worked. Okay. So we'll come here and I'm going to do the edge. And then I'm going to come on and do this one. And this one. Okay. So I'm thinking maybe put this one right here. This is the time-consuming part. You can paint them faster than you can put the glass on. But he's going to be so pretty. But you really need to put your glass in your paper plate that you have. I'm just going to put that one right there. See if I can get this. Too big. Too big. And so I'm going to look for my bigger pieces now. Try to fill these in. I think it might be better to start at the outside and work my way in. Here's a big one. So I can scoot him in there. I think I can put him this way. Tell you, when you get the resin on, it's really cool to see the division between the shell, you know. It really is cool. So it's worth doing it like this instead of just covering it with glass. But if you want to just cover yours with glass, it's still gonna be fabulous. So once you finish yours, please post in the group so that we can see yours. And don't forget to sign your work, preferably before you start this venture. So my piece is sitting on some wood things that I use all the time for mine to help hold it up. And if you have anything to sort of brace the, slide that back to get that in there, to hold it sturdy to keep this your canvas from sinking, do that. That way, when you put your resin on, you won't have sunken spots. It's a little tiny chip that I'm trying to get in there. All right, so let's just go on and finish putting the glue on. I'm going to start at the top. And then I have a long one here. I'm going to put that there. Take my little skewer here to make sure I have my division line still. I normally never, ever place my glass. I always just put it on. But this one is an exception to the rule. Let's see if I can get him in there. Almost done. Let's put this one up at the top. I hope you've enjoyed doing this turtle. And if you want to do him in the 12 by 12 size, you will find a link to the 12 by 12 size turtle to do it with. Okay, we're down to one more. Hooray! Hooray! And you're going to have glass over. There we go. I think we'll put the eyes on them. I think that'll look really cool. Trying to decide which eye we want to do. I think that's what we'll do, is we'll put a small one right here and a larger one right there. Because we don't want to go over the size. So with your extra glass, if you want to maybe put, some glass in these little slots, that's an idea. I'm not going to do it to mine, but you might want to do it to yours. So you have more than enough resin to do this. And your cup will only go up to 2.5 ounces. So you need to really make sure that you put A up to just before the one and let it grow, because it grows like bread rising. And then the same thing when you start to add B, put it below the 2 and let it rise up to the 2. So you have gloves in your bag or in your box. So put your gloves on. Let me get one more here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Set the timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so I have mixed up my resin and I'm stirring it slowly for 3 minutes. If you will stir it slowly, making sure you scrape the sides and zigzag there on the bottom while you're stirring, you'll blend it nicely, and if you stir sort of slow, you won't get a bunch of bubbles. The one thing you want to do before you put your resin on is you want to brush your canvas, which we'll do in a moment, to make sure you've gotten all the dust and glass flakes and just all of that on there. I think it's going to be really gorgeous. Okay, so now I put just a little on my stir stick and I slowly cover the glass. You don't want to just pour it on. You want to get it everything covered. And of course it's going to drip over the sides. We'll deal with that a little bit. See how the color's coming through already? He's going to be cool. Making sure I get all those little yellow places filled. Now what I do after I have put the resin on and I've torched it, I let it sit for 45 minutes. I let it set for 45 minutes. Then I come back out and I take a paper towel and I wipe the edges. And if it's still dripping, then come back in another 5 minutes. Still dripping, come back in another 5 minutes to make sure you get all of those little drops off. Now, some of you may think, oh, well, I'll just tape the back of it with blue tape. Well, if you're successful with it, that's awesome. Do it. I'm not. I end up with blue tape everywhere. Okay, so some of the, as you can see, some of the resin has oozed out, which is good. So now I'm going to just pour, and then I'm going to take my stir stick, and I'm going to just spread it. I want a generous amount on. You may even want to paint over the side on his flipper. Hello, Cynthia.
To listen the message again, kindly press 1.
Jesus. I had started adding music to my videos, and I'm having more problems with my royal-free music now all of a sudden being claimed as copyrighted. So I'm just not going to add music anymore for that simple reason. Now I have a little bit left, which is great, so that you can go on and do your sides. What did I forget to do? Just exactly what I told you you needed to do. I did not wipe my canvas. I hope you wiped yours. Hopefully I don't have a mess on mine. I'm going to just take my finger here and just go down these sides. Making sure that I have everything covered. All right, I believe I have everything covered. So now I'm going to torch it. And it turned out good. I didn't have a whole bunch of mess, but if you find something, like I still need a little resin right in there. If you find something, then get you a score stick and come up under it and pull it out. That's simple. And I just had one. All right, so I still have a good teaspoon left in that, and if you just did 1 ounce of each, you probably have some resin left over. So now I'm going to get a paper towel first, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show you what I do. I fold it again, and then I put it over my finger, and then I just wipe. So I'm going to wipe this down, but this is definitely going to have bubbles in the bottom, so you're going to want to come back in 45 minutes and do this again. I have a lot of excess going on here. So that's where we're at. He is finished. I hope that you have enjoyed this class. And if you have, I hope you will share with somebody how much you have enjoyed it. And maybe they'd like to join too. So thank you once again. He was so much fun to paint, and I hope you had as much fun painting him and putting the resin on as I did. So as I always say, love from the beach. Mwah.